Okay, we will call to order the regular meeting of the Batavia City Council for Monday, July 16th, 2018. I ask that you all rise for a brief invocation to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. As we walk ourselves through the summer season, we are ever mindful of the many blessings that Batavia has been bestowed upon it. Certainly, the celebrations of the last month and a vast variety of senses and orders have been quite fitting, and even over adverse weather conditions in some instances, we've been able to make the moment and mark those with official commemoration and appreciation. Tonight, as always, we want to remember those from our community who are serving in defense of the liberties of the United States of America. And we just ask that a special blessing be showered upon each and every one of them, along with all others from our country who are serving so ably in the defense of our liberties. Also, we just ask for understanding and direction and reflection and vision tonight as we act on the various items of business before us, knowing that each member of the City Council is here in their own heart and mind to do what is in the very best interest of the community of Batavia. We ask for all these blessings. Amen. Amen. Alderman Callahan, you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Brown.
Here.
Rosato. Atack. Stark. Here. Jancet.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Salvetti.
Here.
O'Brien. Callahan.
Here.
Meitzler.
Here.
Malay. Ewer.
Here.
Cerrone. McFadden.
Here.
So let the record reflect that 10 of the 14 aldermen are present and counted for the seat.
I think it's 9. Yep.
9 of the elected aldermen are present and counted for. So we have the necessary quorum to conduct business. And we will move then to items to be removed, added, or changed on the agenda as item number 4. Alderman McFadden, do you have this tonight?
I do. I know of none, Your Honor.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, moving to 5, which is presentation of the consent agenda. Alderman McFadden.
Thank you. The consent agenda reads as follows. Accept and place on file Historic Preservation Commission minutes for June 11th, 2018. The Committee of the Whole minutes for June 5th, June 11th, June 12th, June 25th, and June 26th, 2018, and the June 28th building report. The approvals are as follows. The July 13th, 2018 payroll in the amount of $870,286.10. The accounts payable check register in the amount of $2,249,832.72. The City Council minutes for June 18th and July 2nd, 2018. Approval, Class F liquor license for the Batavia Community Dinner Table hosted by Batavia Main Street on August 5th, 2018 at 1 North River Street. Approval, the Class G special use permit liquor license for El Taco Grande for the Music Matters Summer Festival hosted by Music Matters on August 11th, 2018 at 151 North Island Avenue, the Peg Bond Center. Approval, Class G special use permit liquor license for Pal Joey's for the Music Matters Summer Festival, hosted by Music Matters on August 11, 2018 at the Peg Bond Center. Approval, Class G special use permit liquor license for Gitano's Restaurant for the Music Matters Summer Festival, hosted by Music Matters on August 11, 2018 at the Peg Bond Center. Resolution 1883R, approval of a plumbing inspector contract. Resolution 1877R, approving grant of easement with Mark and Christy Joannis for drainage purposes for the improvements to the property located at 678 North Batavia Avenue. Resolution 1885R, authorizing execution of Task Order 19 for construction engineering services with WBK Engineering, LLC in the amount not to exceed $31,164,000. Resolution 1886R, authorizing extension of an employment agreement with John Dillon. Resolution 1887R, authorization for purchase of Microsoft licenses. Resolution 1888R, approval of MSA and SOW with liftoff. Resolution 1890R, waive bidding for storage area network. And Resolution 1891R, authorization to purchase HPE Nimble storage units from Insight. I make a motion we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Alderman McFadden, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion?
Your Honor.
Alderman Wolf?
Can we put a waive bidding on the consent agenda? I don't believe we can.
No.
We're waiving formal bidding on one, so that has to come off. At the end of, there had been Q, Resolution 18-90-R and 18-91. Those will both have to come off the consent agenda. They have to go on the regular agenda.
Okay.
Correct?
I believe you can do those on the consent agenda, but for practicality purposes, we can take them off and,
Yeah, I didn't think we could put
yeah.
waiving formal bidding.
Yeah, I've always understood that anytime you waive formal bidding, you had to put it on the regular agenda. But
Okay.
you're the attorney, you tell us.
Yeah, let's be safe than
Yeah.
sorry, so we'll take, somebody should make a motion, and Alderman Wolf, you want to make a motion to
I'll make the
remove
motion
Q
that
and
we
R?
remove Q and R and place them on the regular agenda.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman Savati to remove items Q and R from the consent agenda. Any discussion on that? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Jansit.
So do you recommend that we act on these now or after we approve the consent agenda and then as a follow-up to that?
Well, per the consent agenda, we can act on them. We can add them back.
What I'm going to suggest is we'll vote on the other items on the consent agenda and then we'll vote on
Yeah.
these two since they're currently on the table.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Clerk, call the roll, please.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Jansit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 9 yes, no no's, 5 absent. Okay, then, per action of the consent agenda, we'll move to Resolution 18-90-R, waiver of bidding for storage area network. Who would have this one?
True.
I suppose that would be me. So this is to purchase of, get the memo up now. Staff is requesting authorization to waive bidding and purchase a Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Nimble Storage Area Network from Insight for $53,295.42. The storage area network will be used as the storage system to combine the city's utility, supervisory control, and data acquisition, otherwise known as SCADA software, into one hardware platform. Currently, each utility division hosts SCADA separately on multiple servers or personal computers with little ability for failover in case of an emergency. This architecture will allow us to combine SCADA for all the divisions into one hardware platform while creating redundancy in the case of system outages. HPE works with specific resellers and gives the largest discounts to the reseller who first inquires for a customer. The proposed discount received from Insight is larger than that of the GSA or State of Illinois' contract prices. HPE and Insight were able to work with us on sizing and demonstrating the capabilities of this SAN system. I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 1890R to waive formal bidding for the storage area network.
Second.
Moved by Alderman McFadden, second by Alderman Earl for the approval of Resolution 18-90-R, waiver of bidding for the storage area network. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Jansit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati. Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye. Motion's approved, 9 yes, no no's, 5 absent. Okay, then per action of the consent agenda, we'll go to Resolution 18-91-R, authorization to purchase HPE Nimble storage units from Insight. Alderman McFadden, you got that one too?
I have that one. This is authorizing the purchase of the storage area network units as described previously. I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 1891R.
Second.
Moved by Alderman McFadden, second by Alderman Metzler for the approval of Resolution 1891-R. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Transit. Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
Resolution 1891R is approved by a vote of 9 yes, no no's, 5 absent. Okay, moving to item 6 on the agenda, matters from the public. I look out in the audience and I know we have Steve and Britta McKenna here to put on a updated program for us about the Bulldogs on display or unleashed for Batavia. And
Got to work on the marketing.
we have different names. We got Discover the Bulldogs on the front of the brochure here. So anyway, Steve is here, and Steve's been a real yeoman on this thing. Not only is I think it's a lot of his idea that this got on the street, but he physically has put most of it on the street, I think, and has got a lot of sweat equity invested in this. So, Stephen, first of all, on behalf of the community, thank you for what you've done, you and Britta and all the others on the committee, because this really has been quite a major attraction to Batavia this year, and I'm very pleased and honored that we have it here. I'll share the story that last Thursday night, I'm driving through Batavia about 9:45 and out walking around the streets admiring the Bulldogs was the 1982 starting quarterback of the Super Bowl, and Ken Anderson. So he and his wife and his sister and husband were out walking around, and they were full of admiration for us. So we get a lot of star attention to this, and so this weekend certainly was no minor exercise in the whole thing for all the people that were raving and picture taking and doing all the stuff that these are generating. So put Batavia on the map with this one. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'm Steve McKenna with the Batavia Parks Foundation and with our partners with the Foundation for Educational Excellence and the Batavia Public Library Foundation. We're very pleased to be into the summer of the Bulldogs Unleashed project. First of all, I want to invite everybody to enjoy the dogs. Bring your friends, tell your friends outside the community to come look at them. We have lots of ways for you to make sure that you hit them all and see them all and just enjoy them. They're beautiful pieces of art and really represent our community, and then keeping in mind that the opportunity is for the 3 partner foundations to raise some money to do some good things for the community. I would like just everybody to help please take care of them. I know it's hard to keep kids off of them, but we've had a few dents and dings that we'll fix up on a couple of them, but please keep an eye out for them and make sure they make them through the summer. Again, about half of them have already been sold, and the other half will be auctioned. Thanks to, first of all, some of our partners, Main Street Chamber, Water Street Studios has been actively involved with this project, in addition to the school district, the park district, and then of course, the library have all been active to help us with logistics and keep things moving and to promote. And then, of course, the city has done really fun things with the mapping, online interactive map, and all the making sure they're in safe places and helping us with space, etc. So thank you very much for all that help. Just a note that the auction is on September 15th. We passed out a little save the date there. Love to have you there. And you can buy tickets online for that at bulldogsunleashed.org. We also have Joanne Spitz here, another one of our very active members of the committee, and certainly somebody that I count on for a lot of things. And so again, thank you very much for your help and support, and I'd like to pass it off to my wife, Britta, to finish.
Thanks, Steve. So at your places, you have a Liberty note card. That is our best-selling raffle dog. And we are selling raffle tickets for, you'll see two of the raffle dogs down there. That's a Prairie Dog. That's the pretty flowered one. You can visit Prairie Dog with your passport at J. DeCarlo Salon and Spa. And that dog was done by Claire Sitka of Batavia. And then the dog in the middle there is Night and Day Dog, and you can find that dog usually in the window at Urban Style Spa and Salon. And the idea is to, putting on my old Main Street hat, is to drive business and people into the businesses to get their passports stamped. Once you get your passport stamped with a colored paw print, then you'll be put into a drawing to win a large basket of Batavia things, some old Main Street banners, Bataviopoly, a puppy, merchandise. So we encourage people to pick up a passport at any of the 10 locations that have the foster dogs. And if you're wondering where those are, you can go to our website, which is bulldogsunleashed.org. So you can purchase those note cards. We have a pack of 30, which is all the big dogs on the street, for $25. So if you really want to have, I had a little 4-year-old that had to buy one of Corn Dog, because the story is that every day on the way to daycare, she had to have her dad pull over so she could say hi to Corn Dog. So I sold her a Corn Dog note card just because I couldn't stand it. She was too cute. Then there's a set of 10 note cards, and those are the foster dogs. So those are the smaller ones that are in the businesses. Set of 10 for $10. And then we also have a set of 5 Liberty only. That's our #1 selling. It's a very, very popular dog. And those are for sale for $5. And you can buy those right now at the Batavia Chamber of Commerce until I convince other locations to join us. Passport program, I already mentioned that. The puppies, so there's a couple puppies right next to the mayor. Those are the only ones that haven't been picked up yet. We had a puppy show at Windmill City Fest, and it was a lot of fun, and we had about 300 votes cast, so $300. So they're really philanthropy puppies. And the winning dog in the adult division was indeed Philanthropy in Action, or PIA, which was Women's Club, already been picked up. We do have Jewels, which is an entry by Kay Hollis Jewelry. And then we all have an All Hands Dog. Those were both adult entries. And then the winner for the kids division was a 9-year-old who had a dog called Striker. He was a green dog with soccer balls on it. So again, I want to just reiterate, join us on our social media channels. So we have a Facebook page, Bulldogs Unleashed, very active. I take pictures and post all the time. I also have Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, it's BulldogsUN. And if you're on Twitter, the same, BulldogsUN. And one last time, bulldogsunleashed.org. And I'll be happy to entertain any questions that the council or the mayor has about where we're going. We're in the final stretch, 2 months, and we want to take care of the dogs and have a great auction. Last time we raised $75,000 for the 3 charities, which is $25,000 apiece, so that we can continue to do the good works in the community. Questions?
Any questions or comments? Well, I would just say that, I mean, you just have to hang around town for a little bit this summer to get a feel for the energy that this project specifically has brought to the community, and the goodwill and the interest and all the fun that everybody seems to be having with it. It really creates a great feel into the community. And I would note that, these 3 groups that are going to be the benefactors or whatever comes out of the end of this thing, the Batavia Educational Foundation, the Batavia Parks Foundation, and the Batavia Public Library Foundation are 3 institutions in this town which really are making a difference in Batavia on a day-by-day, month-by-month, year-by-year basis. And these are all groups that have not recently, but within the last few years, been kind of brought up out of the ground and put into place. And I would note that they're all volunteer in their total nature. There's not any high-priced staff or any group that's there running it. It's just a bunch of really deep-seated Batavia-loving citizens that have stepped forward and want to show their passion and their appreciation for the town. And by their efforts, they really are making Batavia a greater and grander place. So I just want to pay a word of tribute to those 3, because They really are proving their value to this town, and certainly future generations, I think, will benefit from some of the things that those organizations are working to put into place today. So this is a win-win-win for everybody involved in the community. So I just want to thank the Batavia Educational Foundation, the Batavia Parks Foundation, and the Batavia Public Library Foundation for really stepping up and showing us what we can do and what Batavia is all about. And it is a grand and great story of community involvement that we all can be very proud of. So
Great.
thank Britta and Steve for their, and Joanne and everybody else that's stepping up here and giving an extra mile of time and effort to really make this a great place for us all to live. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, and I hope to see you all at the auction September 15th. Buy your tickets.
Thank you. Okay, then moving to item 7, we've had a change in, we switch off between Chamber and Main Street, and they have switched off. So we have Kathy McAnally from Batavia Main Street here tonight, and I'm sure she's full of all kinds of new ideas and things that we should be doing. So Kathy, we're turning it over to you.
Thank you. Very excited to be here this evening. Jamie and I, our amazing army of volunteers, have been very busy this summer. So many have come downtown to experience the Farmers Market, Windmill City Fest, Second Fridays, countless athletic endeavors, not to mention folks coming downtown to enjoy the beautiful riverfront on bike and foot or dining outdoors on one of our fabulous patios. There's truly something for everyone downtown. This evening, I'd like to chat with you about 2 of our programs. The first one is our long-standing program, probably the longest-standing Main Street program, the Farmers Market. I know most of you have been to our Farmers Market. I see you on the street every week. Thank you for coming out and experiencing and enjoying what so many of us and our community come out and do. But because of some recent activity on social media, I wanted just to take this opportunity in front of the council, in front of the mayor, in front of hopefully viewers at home, and explain 2 things about our farmers market that make it truly unique and truly one of the best farmers markets in the region. The first one is that we're a producers-only market. A lot of people don't understand exactly what that means, but what that means is that you have to grow it or make it to sell it at our farmers market. Jamie and I have been going on field trips every week. We visited Wheaton, we visited Geneva, we visited Oswego, we're visiting Aurora this week. Not to turn up our noses at these other programs, they all have fine programs, but none of them are producers markets, and that makes a real big difference. So we think that's special, we think that's unique. We want everyone in the community to understand that we take that very seriously. The other thing that is very unique about our market is that all of our vendors are hyper-local. We have one long-standing fruit vendor from Michigan who's been with the market longer than my time at Main Street, probably longer than Britta's time at Main Street. They're beloved by the community. They bring something to the market that we can't grow here. So they are our one exception. So with the exception of Flat Tire out of Michigan, our vendors travel less than 10 miles to our market. So this also makes our market very unique and very desirable. We're able to attract the best producers in our area. They want to be a part of our market. So I just wanted to explain that to everyone. I hope you all continue to come out and support the farmers market and support the 35+ small businesses that you're supporting by coming and shopping at the market. The other program that I'd like to talk to you about tonight is our Cocktails in the Park, which is our annual fundraiser that is coming up this Saturday. We hope that you come on down, you discover downtown Batavia, and enjoy an evening on the riverbank of the river, of the banks of the Fox River, with live music, drinks, small plates, and more. There's 2 great ways to get your tickets and to support our downtown efforts. The first option is to purchase an entry ticket. They're the white ones. I have some with me. If anyone needs a ticket or an extra ticket, they're $30. They include your entry into the event, a small plates of food, collectible whiskey glasses, and it's really a lot of local live music too, so people really come and enjoy that. The better option is to purchase the blue ticket. These are $50. It gets you everything that the white ticket gets you, plus you have a 1 in 200 chance to win $2,500. So those are exciting. We only have 200 to sell, and they're selling quickly, so let me know if you'd like one. And plus, you don't need to be present to win. So even if you can't come and you want to make a donation to the programming, you can still, it's more fun if you come, but you can still win if you're not there. And we'd also like to sincerely thank this year's returning presenting sponsors to Cocktails in the Park, which is Boyce Body Works and Gerald Subaru of North Aurora. It's great to have these businesses support this program year after year after year. So thank you to them. That's all I have for you this evening, and we hope to see you all on Saturday.
Well, let me just say that obviously we've got a little bit of a glitch here, only from the perspective that we're putting new windows on the City Hall. And so I've been harking on the crews and those involved that we needed to get the east side of the building done as best we could so that we could pull the snorkels or the lift trucks or whatever we got out there off the side and make it available for people to be able to walk through there on Saturday night. And I think we are going to be able to realize that thanks to Laura's effort and helping move the staff along that we got that set up. So
thank you. We truly appreciate
you
that.
will be able to get through there and get back to that area, which never ceases to amaze me. Going back to when I guess Britta was with Main Street when this first started, and people first came to it and said, goodness gracious, where did this area come from? We didn't even know this existed back here. So, you know, it's one of those kind of Batavia hidden secrets, or I guess it's not anymore, but it certainly was the first year or two that it was done, because people were like flabbergasted that we had this nice area along the river. So I like the fact that we showcase that along. Are you going to say anything about the Batavia Community Dinner Table, or is that for another time?
Actually, I can address that tonight, this evening, as this is our last meeting to present before you, before the event. The community dinner table is on the first Sunday in August. I believe it's August 6th. The tickets are sold out. This is also a very popular program. Our tickets sold out in 6 hours, quite frankly. So we sold 200. We have opportunity available, though, to be involved if you want to participate in the program, but you didn't have an opportunity to purchase tickets, and that's by volunteering. Our volunteers have so much fun at all of our events. We take really good care of them. They return event after event, and the community dinner table is no exception to that. Quite frankly, if I of course am working, it's one of our programs, but if I wasn't, I would probably choose to volunteer over and serve over being served. It's wonderful to see the community sitting down together and enjoying a meal, a fine meal that's been prepared by the chefs at Gitano's. But it's just an amazing feeling to be the one serving.
So when you're the mayor, you become kind of the community face with a target on you. And so the last couple of weeks, because apparently that news about that 6-hour sale of the tickets got out, I've had several people in my face about, well, what is with this community dinner? I really want to come, and I tried to buy a ticket, but I was told it was sold out. What's wrong with you people? Why can't you continue that table up the street? You can go all the way to Gore Street with this thing.
We have increased the numbers of tickets that we've sold every year. We have increased by several tables worth of tickets. We do understand that it's a unique and popular concept. I will take this opportunity to say that Outside of the work I do for Main Street, I'm involved in the Fox Valley Patriotic Organization, and we're the organization that I think you're all familiar with. We're building this incredible monument out here in front of City Hall to commemorate Flag Day and commemorate the very brave men and women that have served our country, and hopefully to inspire patriotism in our community and in our region. And I was asked to be in charge of the event planning for this committee. And because of the popularity of the community dinner table, one of our events will perhaps be modeled after that, to give more people in the community an opportunity to enjoy that type of event.
Okay.
That's just a little plug on the side for that, something coming up.
Okay. Well, I just wanted, I don't say that in any criticism. I'm just
No,
sharing
I know,
that
I understand.
with the popularity and the attraction that this thing has. I had one call in the office last week from some people from, I believe it was Arlington Heights, wanted to know, was there any back way they could buy tickets because they wanted to come out and see what this was, because maybe doing it in their town. So,
We would be happy to host them if they'd like to come, and we can't give them a seat at the table,
I suggested that.
unfortunately.
They said they'd get back to me if they wanted to do that.
Yeah, just ask them to give me a call. We'd be happy to help them out with that.
But I mean, it's kind of an idea that's kind of out there, and people are catching on and want to know why they, like to come out and see it, and maybe do it in their own community, so.
And we do it that first week in August because that's National Farmers Market Week. And we source everything that you're going to eat that evening, we source from the vendors at our farmers market. So that's just another tie into the local food source that we tap into for that event.
Anybody else have any comments on that? Alderman Savati?
Just real quick on the cocktails in the park. Yeah, I can't be there because I'm out of town this weekend, but it is by far one of my favorite events in town. It's done very, very well, and just being out here, it's really a great night. And for those, I think you guys are sold out, or
No, there's tickets available for cocktails in the park. We will cap the event this year at 500, which is a little less than what we had last year. We were just probably a little tad bit crowded last year, was the feedback we received, and we're trying to be sensitive to. It is a magical evening. We put thousands and thousands and thousands of lights all over the trees and luminaries and tiki torches, and it's by far our biggest event labor-wise, but it's probably one of the most fun things we do also.
it is.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Moving then to nobody else on Main Street wants to speak about anything. Okay, moving to item 8, Resolution 18-84-R, authorizing execution of a contract for the 2008 College and Wilson Street storm sewer improvements with Copenhagen Construction in the amount not to exceed $554,567.32. Alderman Wolf.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is for stormwater improvements on the east side of Wilson Street and College Street. We discussed this at our last council meeting, and this was by far the lowest bid. Came in under our engineer's estimate, and we are going with the base bid on it for this year. Any questions? I'll make the motion that we approve Resolution 18-84-R, authorizing execution of the contract with Copenhagen Construction Incorporated for the College and Wilson Street storm sewer improvement in the amount not to exceed $554,567.32.
Second?
We have a motion by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman Salvati for the approval of Resolution 18-84-R for the Wilson College storm sewer improvements. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Transit.
Motion's approved, 9 yes, no no's, 5 absent. Moving to item number 9, which is Resolution 18-80-R, authorizing execution of a contract with SKC Construction Incorporated for the 2018 crack filling program in the amount not to exceed $120,000 $997.25. Alderman Wolf.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is our part of our ongoing effort to maintain and maximize the life of the streets that we have. Even some of the newer streets that we've had resurfaced, we will be doing some crack filling on this year to try to prevent any water damage to them over the winter. Our budget this year included $130,000 for this, but we will just be staying at $120,000. Any questions? I'll make the motion that we approve Resolution 18-80-R.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of ordinance 18-81, or excuse me, 51, for the small cell wire, what?
1880.
1880. Wait a minute.
Number 9.
Oh, I'm sorry. Resolution 18-80, authorizing execution of a contract with SKC Construction for the 2018 crack and filling program. Any further discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Jansit.
Aye.
Motion's approved, 9 yes, no no's, 5 absent. Moving to 10, which is ordinance 18-51, an ordinance amending Title 7 of the Batavia Municipal Code to add new Chapter 6, small wireless facilities relative to permitting and regulation and deployment of small wireless facilities. Who's got this one?
I believe that's
Alderman
me.
McFadden.
Thank you. So the state of Illinois adopted the Small Cell Wireless Facilities Deployment Act, which took effect June 1st, 2018, and gave municipalities 2 months to implement local ordinances to comply with the act. The ordinance 1851 adds a new chapter to the city code in order to regulate the permitting and deployment of small wireless facility installations consistent with the requirement of the Small Wireless Facilities Deployment Act, which was signed into law April 12th as Public Act 100-0585. While the act has an effective date of June 1st, 2018, the substantive provisions of the bill have an implementation date of August 1st, 2018. Therefore, the ordinance needs to be approved prior to August 1st. So essentially, what we're doing is bringing into line our code with the state law and retaining and setting ourselves up to retain as much control of the process as whatever little bit is permitted by the state ordinance. So with that, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 1851.
Second.
Moved by Alderman McFadden, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of ordinance 1851, the Small Wireless Facilities Act, permitting regulation and deployment. Any discussion? Everybody. Alderman Earl?
For staff, did we make any changes to it? I didn't read it line by line the second time around.
As we indicated to the committee at the Cal meeting last week, we were in the process of going through some final changes with the attorney that the attorney could present. And so we did make some final changes on it. Staff recommendations went back to the attorney for the attorney's review. Some of those were allowed to be changed. Some of those were facets of the act which we weren't allowed to change. So, yes.
And then the second question on that is we were talking about trying to do something with the styling. I can't remember the word that they used in the act, but the only control we can have is how they look. Are we still going to be able to do that? Like retroactively go or, later on change appearance? And will that still be effective, I guess?
And that one I also may defer to Scott on. I'm the nuts and bolts hanging on the pole guy. He's the appearance and zoning guy.
Yeah, we're working on a couple things with that. One is the design standards that would, mandate certain minimum design standards. Also for historic district, and some of the language is already reflected in the ordinance regarding the historic districts. But essentially, what we're saying is it has to be fully stealth. It can't be visible or look like it's an antenna type thing. So, so we're working on some of that, and we also are working on small cell application for the permits for them as well. So those are some final things that we're working on that will be later.
Thank you.
Alderman Metzler?
No, it's more of a comment, I think, than a question. Just again, I struggle with this one because of the discussion that we had at the committee meeting last week where this entire act is standing very much on the need to use the municipality's infrastructure, and yet they're cutting dramatically the funding to help the municipalities with their infrastructure. So I really struggle with this one that we're being handed.
Thank you. Alderman McFadden? Alderman Callahan?
On this one, I was not here last week, and I didn't get an opportunity to see the discussion, so I understand it was a lengthy discussion, so I'll be voting present on this one.
Okay. Alderman Wolf?
I echo Elliot's comments. I'm really not happy with the fact that basically they're trying to take away as much of our oversight as possible on the application where these can be and how they can be installed just about anywhere, and yet they don't want to pay virtually anything for the right to use our poles. And I know that this was forced through at the state legislature level, much like the state franchise law was for cable TV. I really struggled with this over the last week, thinking about this. The more and more that I thought about it, I can't support it.
Okay. Anybody else? Alderman Chanson?
We have to vote yes, though, or we have to pass this thing tonight, or the state's going to get mad at us or something, right?
No, what actually happens if you don't, then you're not actually able to implement certain standards that are maybe deviate from the state statute. So if we don't, and it's by the deadline of August 1st. So it behooves us to adopt this, whether it's painful to do so, unfortunately, but it's best if we actually do adopt this before that.
So by default, we take the state's ordinance, and this is a slightly better one.
Slightly better, right.
Okay.
Anybody else? Alderman Stark?
I think that obviously technology is moving in this direction. Unless we all want to shut off all of our phones, all of our streaming of movies, all of our kids streaming games, we're going to have to do this. So to me, this is the lesser of two evils, to be able to have Batavia have some control over something that has pretty much been forced on us by the state of Illinois.
Anybody else? I just want to say, beyond sitting here at the committee meeting last week, I sat through a couple of meetings in other parts of the region last week where I was at the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus Executive Board meeting in Oak Brook, and nobody had anything good to say about this. This was common conversation like which we have just had. I mean, I think this speaks miles about the problems we really seriously have in Springfield these days. That there is all this legislation that's enacted, and one session we create something, and then the next session we add on to what we've already created by just a couple sentences or a period or whatever have you, and we come up with new meetings and new ways of doing stuff. I mean, we really have some serious problems with government in the state of Illinois right now. It is in a very, very dark and bad place, and I'm glad I'm not part of it because it is nothing to be proud of. And so it's interesting to me to watch all the people who seem to be running from the chamber as time goes on here. And I don't know where this is all going. It is a very dark moment in the state of Illinois. And I think this just illustrates it, and I just hope, and I don't want to tie some things together, but there's been some tragedies in other parts of the Midwest where people start drilling holes in the ground and they hit gas mains and things blow up and people get killed, and we're seen to be, why we're doing it is we're installing things and I just hope that we've enacted enough control over this whole thing that we don't have some tragedies because we're forcing everybody to get out and put holes in the ground or coffins in the front yard or whatever we're calling them, and saying that this is all part of an upgrade to our wireless facilities. I fully understand the value of the technology of it, but there seems to be some missing pieces of it, and I think at the end of the day, it's all the color of the money that's being made by somebody in the game here. And the fact is, it's already been pointed out by some of the rest of you on the council, this bill seems to have been written in a fashion that it really restricts the ability of the city to be a financial gainer in any way, shape, or form in this legislation. So, I guess this is one of those things where if you have the opportunity to see your state senator or your state representative, or you, more interestingly, if they ever have any debates or presentations about themselves in the coming election, this is where you need to go and get in their face in a public conversation about, did you vote for this, and did you know what you were voting for, and what is the value of what is going on here? Because I think we've got to bring a halt to all this stuff that's happening in Illinois with this legislation that just is very bad for the way we do business and the way we like to do business. And it's totally contrary to the way I think this city is being run by how we try to keep things above board and open and try to at least make sure that the taxpayers are getting some return on their value here. And it's not all going in some other direction. So I agree with everything that's been said as far as, if I vote on this, I would vote for it only begrudgingly because the state legislature has literally put the gun to our head and said, well, you better vote for it. If you don't, you're going to be left out, and then you won't have any control over it. Not that we have much as it is. So now that I've got off my soapbox, anybody else want to finish up? If not, the clerk please call the roll then on ordinance 18-51.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Stark? Aye. Chansett?
Aye.
Wolf?
No.
Salvati?
Aye.
Callahan?
Present.
Meitzler?
No.
Ewer?
Aye.
So what does that vote? That vote is 6 yes, 2 no, and 1 present. What do you?
And actually, since Marty, I understand you're voting present, but your vote has to count as a yea or nay.
Yes.
And what I was just reviewing as well, since most of the votes counted as a yea, your vote counts as an approval.
Correct.
So that puts it at 7-2, and the mayor, you'd cast.
Then I have to vote, then you're putting the gun to my head and I have to vote yes.
Yes.
Let that record reflect that.
She technically still didn't say yeah.
Okay. Takes me a minute to get through that one. All right, let's move to 11. Maybe this is better news. Ordinance 18-52, declaring surplus property and donate to chip in. Who's got this one?
I've got this one, Your Honor.
Alderman McFadden.
It is better news, yes. The fire department's got some surplus equipment in the form of about 6 iPads. They're a little bit older and no longer supported for updates by Apple. They were used in the fire department vehicles to assist in routing and managing resources at the incident, and they were replaced earlier in this year. Chip-In was contacted to see if they'd be interested in having these, and they gave an enthusiastic yes. So the recommendation is we declare these iPads surplus property and donate them to Chip-In Batavia. And I will make a motion that we approve ordinance 1852, doing just that.
Second.
Moved by Alderman McFadden, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of the declaring a surplus property of the fire department iPads and donate them to Chip-In. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Stark? Aye. Chansett?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Motion's approved, 9 yes,
Yep.
no no's, and 5 absent. Okay, administrator's report. Laura, please.
Yes, good evening. We have a summer intern in the administration department, and among other projects that Ben Paoletti completed this summer, one of those was to update the alderman's plaque. It hangs right next to the entry doors to city council chambers, and on it is the name of every alderman that has served on Batavia City Council since the town's incorporation. And I think one of the things that is remarkable about that is that, is it 1838 that was the incorporation?
No, 93.
93 was the
1893.
incorporation. That we don't even have enough alderman names at this point to fill that plaque. And I think what that says is there are a lot of very long-serving aldermen that we both have here on council today, but that we have had throughout our history, a number of who have served more than 25 years in that capacity. And for all of the things that you guys do to prepare for all of the meetings that you have throughout the year and deciding on such important matters, I just wanted to say thank you to you all for your service in that regard. And your name will always be there for you and any of your family members to see and be proud of.
And they're all done alphabetical, so everybody can find them in a hurry.
Yes, you can find them in there.
And this, I thought it was appropriate that we do it this year, because if you do the math, it's 125 years old, the city this year, so.
Yeah.
We've got a proud story, hopefully.
We sure do. And I also wanted to say congratulations and thanks to the Batavia Park District for the fabulous Windmill City Festival that we enjoyed this weekend. Despite threats of thunderstorms and sweltering heat, there were hundreds of people out there enjoying themselves, and the bands and the food. And also wanted to say thank you to our Public Works Department and also the Batavia Police Department for, while I was standing there in the sweltering heat just sweating in my shorts and t-shirt, they were there on full shifts in their full uniforms too. And so we really appreciate them being out there as well. I noticed there was Batavia High School class of 1978 was out there celebrating their reunion this past weekend too. And I think they really enjoyed the festival. Also, the windmills that the city purchased from Francine Popick have been dismantled and moved to our Public Works facility. And tomorrow at the Committee of the Whole meeting, Chris Cudworth will be doing a presentation about a collaboration that the city is undergoing with the library. We're creating a windmill tour application, phone application, that will provide a guided tour and information about our windmills. And the content for that app is coming from a book that was published in the past by the Batavia Public Library. So an opportunity for us to collaborate on that project. We look forward to that. Today we had a pre-construction meeting with the contractor who is going to be installing the dam signage and lighting. And also wanted to provide an update on One Washington Place, that there have been meetings between the developer and our environmental consultant and staff to continue to work on creating a plan for the remediation of that site so that we can hopefully get past that and move on to construction soon. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions?
I have one. I guess this is as good a time as any to bring it up. I'd like to at least have somebody else join me. I'd like to have the city administrator get with our legal representation and find out what happens when and if the local group in town decides to get another referendum up to try to strip us of our home rule powers. Because I'd like to know what the true legal ramifications are if we were to lose home rule. How do we rescind a home rule sales tax that is dedicated to paying off bonds that have already been issued?
Yes.
There's just a lot of questions that I have about that, and that's one of the things I want to make sure the public is aware of before the misinformation starts, before another campaign gets out there to try to strip us of home rule power.
Yes.
And I'd also like to have a list of the things we have done with home rule power to be able to be given to the general public again, to inform them the truth of what the city council has used home rule power for. Okay. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'd really like to start this off on the right foot so the public has the truth.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that.
All right, any other questions of the administrator? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Committee reports, community development, Alderman Brown.
No report, Your Honor, just some meetings to announce. Tomorrow evening's committee of the whole meeting will start at 7 p.m. And then Wednesday, July 18th, Plan Commission is meeting. A couple items on their agenda that might spur some interest. First one is the public hearing for the East Side Community Center, which is the proposal for parking lot and playground expansion. And that is for the design review on that. And then the next one is another yet development that is coming towards us, and this is called the Windmill Landings Congregate Living Facility. This is going to be located at 2401 Hawks Drive, and there's a couple other addresses associated with it also, but I won't go into that. It's directly west of the Walmart on Hawk Road. That is coming to the Plan Commission for preliminary and final plat of subdivision and design review. And then Historic Preservation is scheduled to meet July 23rd, which is next Monday at 5:30. And then the next Committee of the Whole is still scheduled for July 24th, but we have no items on that agenda at this time. That's all I have.
Okay. Government Services, Alderman McFadden.
Thank you. Just at tomorrow night's COW, we'll be discussing an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Batavia and the Batavia Public Library. That's all I have.
City Services, Alderman Wolf.
No report, nothing on the agenda for tomorrow night.
Public Utilities, Alderman Chanson.
Nothing to report, nothing on the agenda.
Okay. We have other business from any of the members of the council? All right. I just want to pontificate here for a moment on a couple of things that I had again over this weekend, because we had a lot of people in town, and as Laura just mentioned, we had several class reunions going on, and Batavia High School basketball had their big weekend in which a number of people came back from around the area or from around the United States to that. So as a result of this, I had several conversations with people, and I've told kind of these stories before, of people who grew up in Batavia maybe 50 years ago. Were here, maybe graduated from high school 37, 40, 45, 50 years ago, and hadn't been back to Batavia since then. And I had two of these people talk to me this past weekend. And the one guy who came from Seattle, Washington, hadn't been in Batavia in 37 years, said he could not believe what he found here, because this was not the place that he left. And he said he was extremely impressed by what he had seen. And specifically, he had a lot of compliments about the downtown, about the flowers on Wilson Street. And then he was quite complimentary about what he saw on North River Street, that he thought the sign over the street was a unique touch. And I said, well, it's got more controversy around it than probably many other things, but he thought it was really a neat little thing. But I guess that leads me to my thought here, as what we heard tonight from, all the folks that have been in here before we got to this point. Over on River Street, that has really become a very special place in Batavia. And the fact that every Saturday morning we have the farmers market over there, and we have literally thousands of people show up over that morning to go shopping and come out and talk to one another and just kibitz about things in hand. And as you may remember, when we started that under the sign, and then we got it up to State Street, and now we about got it up to Spring Street, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the compliments we get by it are just phenomenal. Then now we're hearing tonight from Kathy. She talked about, all the things that are going to be taking place, and we're going to have the party in the park, which a lot of people will be downtown and admiring that. And then the community dinner on River Street, which is already sold out. And then we have the celebration over Labor Day weekend, which is the car show and all the other things that they're going to do. And then we have the Oktoberfest. And so we're highly using this. And unfortunately, not everybody who was here at the time is sitting here tonight. Alderman O'Brien is certainly one that I wish was here, because, there was moments when we went through, I would describe it as hellfire and damnation about what we were doing over there on River Street. And what were we doing, wasting all this money, and would anybody ever use it, and what benefit was it going to have for Batavia? and what legacy would it leave, and it was just going to be a street of litter and drunks falling down in the middle of the night, and et cetera, et cetera. And I would submit that none of that has occurred, and a lot of good things have occurred. And just the number of Batavia connections and Batavia heritage and legacy that is drawn onto there and brought out, and so many different people meet, and so many people have good times over there and have pleasant memories, or, help support themselves with stuff they sell at the farmer's market. At the end of the day, I would argue that has been a very good thing that we did. And, having that little sign up there over the top of the street really kind of brings it out that that's someplace special, and it's something that people should stop and take a look at and have an understanding about. And I can remember as recent as when we bought the Larson and Becker property, that was another hellfire and damnation moment. What are you going to do with that? And I would suggest that we probably haven't seen the last of what we're going to do with that. That probably is going to give, future city councils a real good opportunity to do some more creative and progressive and tax enhancing development for the downtown area of Batavia over the next 10 years or so. And so I don't think anybody that was involved in that, and that I guess includes myself, needs to be sitting here making apologies for that one, because that ended up really being quite a starship and something that, most people, what I really was flattered about, I guess is the term I would use, is a number of former Batavians who came back to the old hometown and were so pleased to see how nicely with the pedestrian bridge and the stuff that's been built along that and what was happening here on this side of the river, that we really had made the center of Batavia the place to be. And, as one told me, the town he's living in, they let the downtown crash and burn, and they moved everything out to the outskirts, and it's nothing but a big shopping center with some parking lots and no character. And, I think we got all kinds of character here, and, we're continuing to do a lot about that. So my hat's off to everybody that was involved, and that probably includes everybody sitting around the table here, because some of you, or even the newer people, have had to vote on some stuff that was necessary to kind of bring that along. And I think it's all proven out. So thanks for everybody's support in trying to bring that together, because we are making the downtown the true heart of Batavia, and I think that was the long-time dream of, Peg Bond and Phil Elstrom and Alderman Brown's father when he was mayor. They were the ones that kind of kicked the idea into the gear, and I think everybody that was involved in it, Jim Hanson's another one, would be very pleased to see what has happened here, and all the new generations of Batavians and the older generations that are still here have come to realize what a real treasure we've got going here. So you got to feel good about some of the things you do here. And at a time when we're talking about the despair we see in state government and the disparities that seem to be cropping up all over on the face of the state, it's good that we can sit here in our own little town and have some real appreciation for some of the good things that are happening. And, some of the volunteer efforts, as we've heard about here tonight, and certainly the creation of the community band that we now enjoy on 5 or 6 times a year. It's all volunteer. Nobody's getting a dime for anything that they're doing there. We got the Flag Day Memorial that Kathy McNally just talked about, and that is, I think, something else that's, again, being funded totally by volunteers. We got the Depot Museum being planned for expansion. So there's some real neat recommitment or continued commitment to downtown Batavia that's going on here. And so I had a lady show up last week and came in and wanted to know how she could move in here and where could she put her name on the waiting list at River Rain. So I sent her down to River Rain. I trust that she was able to do it, but she said there was just such a special sentiment of friendliness that was floating around here that she just thought she'd like to be part of this. And I said, well, last I knew it was a couple years wait to have that, but I kind of chuckled to myself after I said it, because that was one of the first things that was kind of finally acted upon when I got elected mayor, and that was full of hellfire and damnation. There was a lot of people who didn't want to do that one, and certainly buying and redoing this building and tearing down the vast majority of it was, which was just to the west of us here, was another one that Alderman Brown's dad took all kinds of grief about. And so, you know, you grin and bear it sometimes, but at the end of the day, I think those who followed the dream and put it together and got it created really have something that they can be proud and pleased about. So I just wanted to share that with you because it was so much in my face the last few days. Alderman Brown, I guess we need a motion for executive session to set the price of land for sale.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Savati. We'll take a brief break while we go into executive session and allow the city clerk to change the tape. Oh, we got to vote.
Brown?
Aye.
Stark? Aye. Janset? Aye. Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Motion's approved.